Today I'm going to show you a great way to finish off your meal with a twist on an old family favorite, apple pie. What I'm going to do is make a little finger version of it with some apple-filled wontons. I'm going to show you a great simple way to make a caramel sauce, and we're going to top it off with a little lemon creme fraiche. Let's get started with the caramel sauce. This I actually came up with while I was making a mistake in the kitchen, which I think is where a lot of chefs actually kind of reinvent things. I started off making a gastrique, which is just a reduction of vinegar and sugar. We've got a little sherry vinegar. We're going to start with some brown sugar. About 2 parts vinegar to 1 part sugar. And we're going to let that reduce for just a little while. Now for the apple filling. I've got some nice diced apples here. These are actually local apples from Whole Foods. When you're going through the store, you can see signs for locally grown items. So just search for that and you can support your local farmer. You're going to start with a nice big pat of butter. Add in our nice diced apples. We're going to cook these till they're pretty soft, but we want to leave just a little bit of a bite and just really show off the apples. Just to help those soften up a bit, I'm going to add in a little bit of local apple cider. And for a little seasoning, some classic seasonings, we got a little bit of cinnamon, some nutmeg. Oh, I can smell this already. And then just to add a little bit of a twist, a pinch of cayenne pepper. All right, that's gonna simmer down, just soften a little bit and become almost like a nice apple butter. That's still going. I'm gonna show you how to make a nice topping. Instead of doing a la mode with ice cream, we're just gonna take some creme fraiche, which is very similar to a sour cream, add a little lemon to it, and we'll just have a nice way to sort of add a little bit of tang to the dish. You can find creme fraiche over by the cheese area at your Whole Foods. Just add a little bit of that in. And creme fraiche has like quite a bit of a natural tang on its own, so we're just gonna use some of the lemon zest. Just grab your handy microplane, and there you go. I think just to carry over that lemon in the rest of the dish, we're gonna add a little bit into our apples as well. Apples are almost there. As soon as the liquid's evaporated, we'll be ready to go. Once our vinegar starts to bubble, it's time to add in some cream. We're just gonna whisk it in. There we go. Now we're just gonna let the two of these cook down a little bit together to get nice and thick, but we're almost there. Now that our apples are nice and tender, we're gonna go ahead and make our wontons. While you're waiting to use your wontons, just make sure you keep them under a damp towel so they don't get too dry. Just gonna lay them out and just have a little bit of water handy to seal them together. Fill them with a little bit of apple. As much as you can get in there, but it's a little tough to put more than a spoonful. All right. And then you just take your fingers, you really just want to wet one side of the wonton. If you wet all 4 corners, it'll sort of slip inside when you try to put it together. Just fold it in half, seal the edges, and then you just sort of cup it with your hands and squeeze out all the air bubbles. That way when you put it in the fryer, it's not going to explode at all. I'll just show you that one more time. 2 sides with the water, just fold it in half. First a nice seal, and then just squeeze out those air bubbles. I always like to make a couple extra because you know what? Chances are 1 or 2 is going to explode in the fryer. All right, last one. You want to get your fryer oil up to about 375 degrees. That'll let the wontons get nice and brown and crispy. All right, here we go, right into the fryer. What's great about these is you can either plate them and serve them as a plated dessert, or you can put them on a platter and serve it as sort of a past dessert hors d'oeuvre. These are poofing up nicely and getting light brown. Yep. And you just want to try to flip them over and get them evenly browned. Beautiful, it just takes a minute. Let those rest for a second. We'll check on our other ingredients. We've got our caramel. Ooh, almost thick enough. We're just gonna let it go for one more second. I'm just gonna give that a little taste. Be careful, it is hot. Don't wanna burn your tongue. Nice and tart from the sherry and a little bit sweet. I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt just to bring out all the flavors. Our caramel's all ready to go. Looks like it's time to plate. Just gonna put down a few wontons. Drizzle on some of our delicious tangy caramel sauce. Or a lot, it's quite tasty. And then for that little bit of a creaminess, we're gonna add in our lemon creme fraiche. And there we go, a little twist on apple pie.